VO Radio, 24/7 internet radio for the voiceover community.
Welcome to Lessons Learned Last Week, Reflections from Rebecca. This is Rebecca Haugh of LoveThatRebecca.com and VOimprov.com, bringing you insights and lessons learned. So what happened last week? Well, I got a wonderful opportunity from a repeat client, somebody who's booked me in the past that I loved working with, even though I work really hard with them. Sometimes you don't have to sweat it so much. So this is one where I had to sweat, but it was great. Good pay, good work, big client. So this is an agency or what we call a media advertising agency or digital media agency. And they said, hey, Rebecca, are you available XYZ times for XYZ client for $2,000? So it was a great offer, and I looked over my schedule, and I saw I was clear for when they were looking, and then I looked at the rate that they were offering, and I compared that to what I've done in the past and what it seemed appropriate for in this circumstance. Well, based on what all the parameters were, I said yes. Then I had a funny feeling in my stomach, and I thought, wow, is this me doing "you're not worth it" kind of a thing? You know, we all have our own little paranoias. Imposter syndrome, I guess you could call that. And I let it fly off the shoulder and said to myself, hey, you have a on-hold project and don't think more about it. Just let it happen. You'll find out. So one day passed, and that was a potential day for the booking. So I thought, maybe my little red flag was right. And then the next day I got an email saying, I'm so sorry. They went in another direction. Gosh, I'm so sad. I wrote back and I said, oh, yeah, bummer. Me too. And I was really friendly about it. And I said, but these things happen and we can't control that. And I really appreciate you keeping me on your roster. And these opportunities are wonderful when they come up. And the good thing is you still have the job even if I don't. So at least half of us win. So what are the lessons we can draw from this from last week? There are a few things we can walk away with. Maybe you can come up with some more. I'd love to hear about it. But I did come away with 3 different things from last week's experience that I just shared. Important lesson number 1. When you get a job offer and you're penciled in, realize that it can change. It can shift on you. And so don't let it pull out the rug from underneath you, meaning don't get too locked into everything that you have coming down the pike because you never know at the last minute these things can change. You can't control everything about voiceover jobs because it's a collaboration and there are multiple moving parts and many people involved. So you don't know exactly what's going on with all the other people and why they might change something, and often you won't find out. So in our position, we have to be extremely flexible to just roll with what happens. And sometimes that means a job gets pulled away from us without our understanding why. Lesson 2 that I get out of this is keeping a good relationship and rapport with the client, even if the rug comes out from under you. It's really important to keep a good rapport with the people who are keeping you on their roster, no matter what happens, like what just happened to me. Don't let them hear or feel big disappointment from you. Don't make them feel bad about what happened. That would be the worst thing to do, to make them feel bad because you feel like you lost a job and they'll feel blame from you. Don't do that. That would be bad. How do you keep a good rapport? You keep positive about the fact that they actually reached out to you and had you top of the list. You remind them of how appreciative you are for being on the list, nonetheless on top of the list. You reassure them that you're always there for them, no matter what. You reinstill trust and confidence in your professionalism with them. The third and final thing for this lesson. Sometimes people might think this a little bit squishy because this isn't a technical thing. It's not about numbers and data. Sometimes we get these hunches, we have instincts, we have a little, what we call a red flag come up. And we sometimes discount them, and sometimes you just can't do anything about it anyway. One thing to consider is keeping in mind those feelings we get, those little hunches we have, those instincts that we get, even on the business side of things, because they could be telling you something that's true. In this case, it was a hunch. I don't know why I had that feeling. And in other cases, it might be about the company and a first-time client that you want to check out more, or something else. But pay attention to those little instincts or little flags that come up, and follow them if you need to. That's it for this week on Lessons from Last Week. Keep tuning in to hear more reflections from Rebecca. Rebecca Haugh signing off.
VO Radio, 24/7 Internet radio for the voice of our community.